Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to have Dr. Shane Creado on, and just think of this as Sleep Week. Dr. Creado is a psychiatrist. He's a sleep specialist. He works in our clinic in Chicago, north of Chicago. We love him. He and I collaborate on lots of patients. He's super smart, very articulate, and his new book, Peak Sleep Performance, the cutting edge sleep science that will guarantee a competitive advantage. Shane, welcome to the Brain Warriors Way podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say, Daniel, that you inspired me to start writing books. When I first joined Amen Clinics, you said you got to write a book on sleep. And so it's finally here. So thank you for this opportunity.
Right. And you said, well, there's so many books on sleep. What do I have that's different? You're also a sports medicine psychiatrist.
Oh, that's interesting.
And, we went to an NBA game together and we talked to one of my favorite NBA players, Kyle Korver, and just how important sleep is to performance, but it's just not athletic performance. It's work performance. It's life performance. And whenever anybody asks me about my routine during the pandemic, I always start the night before and how I get ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true. And it goes from everything from sports performance to work performance to brain health, which is what we do here at Amen Clinics. And as you rightly said in the Bright Minds protocol, sleep is a pillar of brain health. And if we don't optimize our sleep, our brain health really can't get to the next level of functioning. So this book will hopefully focus on sleep, not just for athletes, but for everybody. This book has all the tools needed for everyone to have access to the skills, sleep skills used by elite athletes that everyone can implement today.
So let's start by talking about what hurts our sleep. What is going on in our society?
Especially right now. Like, I think we need to really discuss about what's happening during the pandemic and how that's disrupting people's
You mean like
sleep.
Chronic fear?
Right.
This thing, I call it the global amygdala hijacking.
Right.
We have a global amygdala hijacking.
And I think it's really important to really address like the current situation, and things are going to be different going forward.
Absolutely. So we know that there's already been a sleep pandemic in a way because insomnia has been so widespread. Add to it anxiety, stress, fear, things that are out of control. It's going to magnify the problem because sleeping is the most vulnerable thing we do. And if we're in danger mode, we've seen that on our brain scans as well. If we are in danger mode, if we're anxious, then it's just, we're not going to be able to fall asleep. Our brain will not let us sleep because we are hardwired to protect ourselves. And that means staying awake or being light sleepers, which will in turn sabotage our ability to deal with stress once again, which sets up a vicious cycle. A lot of people are talking about their pandemic nightmares. And there's a difference between nightmare disorder, which is severe, and general nightmares. In fact, studies have shown that nightmares can actually be protective. They prime the brain to respond to terrifying situations. And they've seen people respond quicker to strange, scary situations when they have had nightmares on and off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you're in danger mode, your brain tends to do things in its sleep, like dreams that you experience during the day. So you'll have scarier dreams, you'll have nightmares. If you're anxious, you won't get enough sleep. So your brain will compensate by getting more dream sleep, which will actually fuel more nightmares. So yes, people are staying home.
I'm sorry, does anger affect your sleep the same way as anxiety, or is it different?
It's very similar because anxiety or danger mode can result in us going to fight or flight mode. And so that fight mode is the anger component to that danger response.
That's so interesting. Because I see people so angry right now. And so I just wonder how that's...
So as a way to manage the stress, people are smoking pot. We had a hysterical interaction with my dad before he died, where he got into my
The
mother's
best last conversation ever recorded in
hemp
history.
gummies. He got into her hemp gummies.
She didn't tell anyone she was taking hemp gummies,
And
but you didn't know you're only supposed to
but
have
people
one.
are resorting to marijuana. They're resorting to hemp gummies. They're resorting to alcohol or sugar before bed. How do those things impact sleep?
Those things will adversely affect your sleep because the sugar crash comes along eventually. Now, in my athlete population, if it's the night before a big game, we can talk about foods like tryptophan, foods filled with GABA, high carb foods. Slow carbs can help you sleep better. But if you're eating sugar throughout the day, if you're in danger mode, if you're using marijuana, that's going to set you up for failure in the long term because those are really going to interfere with your rhythms, your biological rhythms. The way it's really simple when you break it down in terms of the evidence-based strategies to optimize your sleep. You need to synchronize your circadian rhythm or the melatonin and cortisol balance, and you need to synchronize your sleep need, so your sleep thirst or your homeostatic drive. Once they're in sync, you'll be able to fall asleep when you want to, wake up when you want to. But because people are resorting to marijuana throughout the day, gummies, they're going to feel hungrier, they're going to have the munchies, they're going to resort to unhealthy foods, they're not exercising, structure and routines have fallen off. That'll disrupt your sleep. So daytime routines are as important as nighttime routines. People talk about sleep hygiene, having a to-do or a worry list a few hours before bedtime, having a fixed wake-up time. Those are all well and good, but if you are doing things to sabotage your rhythms during the day, it will impact your nighttime sleep.
So let's talk about wine for 1 second, because people always talk about this, how I have a glass of wine to sleep at night. So, but I noticed that if I have just a tiny bit of wine on occasion, it doesn't really disrupt my sleep very much. I have it earlier than, before I go to bed, not right before bed. But if I if I have like a larger glass of wine, I don't drink very much, but that definitely disrupts my sleep. So how much is there an amount that, like, can people drink? Because people are going to ask, they always ask, how much can I have? So
I've never prescribed alcohol to anyone before.
All right, let me rephrase it. How much can I get away with?
Well, people say wine has some benefits because of the resveratrol in the skin of grapes. So you could always have resveratrol to help you with those benefits.
I don't think that's why they're really having it.
Exactly. So I would say if someone wants to have an occasional glass of wine, then that's okay if you don't have any liver or other severe brain health issues. But you need to, as you rightly said, have it a few hours before bedtime.
Right. Okay.
Sure, a nightcap will help you fall asleep easier because it's a depressant to your nervous system. But a few hours later, when your brain is going through a withdrawal since it's out of your system, your brain will wake up in the middle of the night. So a lot of people say, but it helps me fall asleep and I don't know why I'm waking up at 3 a.m. It's precisely the alcohol that can be contributing there.
Right.
Also, alcohol
and
can
it's a
worsen
diuretic.
sleep apnea. It is a diuretic, so you're going to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. It'll be harder for you to fall asleep because now your brain is not just awake, it's also going through a mild anxiety in a way in the brain's receptors in terms of withdrawing from that alcohol. And alcohol can worsen sleep apnea. It makes your muscles relax.
Right. And you made a really good point about getting up and going to the bathroom. I even noticed that, like, I changed my supplement routine because I take a ton of supplements. I was taking them right before bed. Well, that meant I had to drink a ton of water right before bed. And that was really disrupting my sleep. So just changing some of those things can be helpful too, I think.
Yes.
Well, Shane helped us create our supplement, Put Me to Sleep, which we're really excited about at Brain MD. But before we have to finish our first podcast, let's talk about a couple of other sleep disruptors. Like, what do you think about caffeine?
Caffeine will disrupt your sleep because it's a stimulant, so it's going to keep your mind alert. But it doesn't mean that you're going to get away with it in the long term because your sleep debt will catch up with you. That's one thing. The other thing is you might need more and more caffeine because tolerance may build up. You may start off with a couple of cups in the morning every day. And before you know it, the next month, you may need 3 or 4 cups just to keep going. So if you feel you need a stimulant like caffeine to keep you up, you're obviously not getting sufficient sleep. I've said this before. If each one's brain needs different amounts of sleep. If you're getting 6 hours of sleep, but your brain needs 8 hours of sleep, then you're running on fumes because every week you lose 14 hours of sleep. So I'm not a fan of caffeine. There's other ways to be more alert, like better sleep, better quantity and quality of sleep.
I have a question. So is there it seems like some people are more affected by cutting their sleep short, even if it's by a small amount. I know if I sleep a half hour less, just a half hour less, I need like 8.5 hours. But if I sleep like a half an hour less than I know before I'm ready to wake up, I feel sick. I mean, it seems like sleep affects people differently. You'll just like sludge through it. But I literally feel almost like there's something wrong with me. I'm coming down with something. Is that common?
Yes, it's more common than you'd think. And people don't realize it's directly connected to their sleep. Well, I'm crabby all the time. I wake up with a morning headache. Sometimes I don't want to talk to my wife in the morning. I'm a little slow getting started. And those are all little clues to me that they're not getting the optimal sleep that their brain needs. So you'll pick up on this. Other people who have inflammatory conditions or elite sports people, they know the difference. In fact, the 30-minute sleep extension studies have been done at Stanford. And they found that even 30 minutes more sleep, even if the athlete is getting what they think is enough sleep, you can boost your basketball shooting accuracy by 9.2%.
So it's not in my head.
It's all
it's all in my head.
When we come back, we're going to talk more about the things that disrupt your sleep, but also the things that help your sleep. Stay with us.
If you're enjoying the Brain Warriors Way podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, feel free to give us a review or 5-star rating, as that helps others find the podcast.
If you're considering coming to Amen Clinics or trying some of the brain healthy supplements from BrainMD, you can use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or a 10% discount on all supplements at brainmdhealth.com. For more information, give us a call at 855-978-1363.